Many centuries ago, transported from their native lands to my faraway world. Here they were granted astounding powers and eternal youth. Then returned to Earth. Their mission, to watch over the human race, helping the good in it to survive and flourish.
Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, your agent of animated awesome, X7 here, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today is the penultimate episode of the young Space Sentinels, in which they have to fight a deadly outer space menace to our planet Earth, called the Jupiter Spore. It is episode 12, and I really hope that I did this properly. Be that as it may, grab yourself a big old bowl of hummus of perfection, your favorite delivery method, and like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll if there is one, and wherever you're watching or listening to, please listen or watch a couple minutes longer than you usually would. Really helps the algorithm. So let's get into this. Here's a little more of the beginning.
In the course of history, their names have become legend. Hercules, empowered with the strength of 100 men. Astrea, able to assume any living form. Mercury, the amazing athlete who can match the speed of light.
And with S1
Together with me, Sentinel 1,
and Dopey,
my maintenance robot, Mo. These teenage guardians form the greatest team the world has ever known. The Space Sentinels.
copyright 1977 Filmation. All right, so I'm going to skip ahead a bit. And the Space Spore has landed. It's and been retrieved. Listen to that groovy Filmation music. I really like this shot here. It doesn't look like Hanna-Barbera. There's cars. I mean, this is kind of grounded, a little more grounded. There's our probe that's returned from Jupiter, probably from the big red spot. And that looks like Dr. Quest.
After a round trip of 800 billion miles, the Jupiter probe is finally home.
Now, don't they remember what happened to the probe Helio 1 6 years ago, when it came back from space? It brought a space amoeba with it. Not really a plant, but it did did happen. Looks like Mo's arms are reaching out there, doesn't it?
Let's look at soil from Jupiter.
So they made a mistake here, because as soon as they pour it out, look what happens.
It's some kind of plant, crystalline in structure.
So our scientists who are so smart didn't do any, try to stop, while they're worried about it exploding.
Incredible. We better evacuate the compound.
You think? It's not very, it's not a very gooey or ooey mess. It just looks like a plant. So we get some more nonsense here with this young Space Sentinels and Mo. We're just going to skip that House of Cards. And that'll tell you everything you need to know, right? But Herc's no Agent DM now, is he? But this is all coming to it's all coming to fruition here till we get the alert.
From the Space Administration.
Sentinels, we have a disaster on our hands. The Jupiter probe returned this morning, and when we opened the soil sample, this plant started growing.
So what's the disaster?
Look for yourselves.
That is a disaster.
What is the plant's growth rate?
About 1,000 feet per minute. Unless we stop it, it'll completely overrun the world within 4 days.
Do you know the cause of its rapid growth?
No, and it's getting bigger every second.
What do you think, S1?
Advise starting at the beginning on the planet Jupiter.
So off they go to Jupiter. That lovely ship.
Some way to sneak into it. What about a decoy to draw the fire? That'd give us enough time to zip in.
Yeah, but what do we use as a decoy?
Herc, get out that old jalopy of yours.
Huh? Oh, no, you don't have.
That's why she's the brains. His poor old jalopy there. So, space back there is a little busier than it should be. I tried looking up movies about spores and killer plants from outer space. There's not a lot. I mean, you get your mean green mother from outer space, and the Little Shop of Horrors, but you don't really. Oh, that's the moon Ganymede, the moon a moon of Jupiter, where they've found some intelligent life. And invasion of the body snatchers. I hadn't thought pod people were plants, but it makes sense. And the green slime, of course, because it looks like a bug, doesn't it? It's the blue beetle. So there is the only person on Ganymede, because Jupiter's gravity would crush anyone on there. Now this is supposed to be a sonic ray, but it acts like a laser.
Okay, it's safe.
Or so they think. But like I was saying, there's not a lot of actual movies about plants from space. There's a lot of killer plants out there. I mean, obviously Audrey Jr. or 2 is from outer space, and a lot of the movie version of Day of the Triffids is calls them plants from outer space. Now, in the book, the Triffids are just regular plants on the planet, but in the movie, you can really get hot if you watch Jeanette Scott fight a Triffid that shoots poison and kills from outer space. And of course, there's the Thing from Another World. At least the original one was a plant. I don't even remember in the book. I don't think it was. But in The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, I don't think it was a plant, but we'll just never know. And then there's Creepshow, from 1984, The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill, where Stephen King stars in it, and he touches a meteorite and turns into a vegetable. So I thought it was a good bit of comedy, but nobody else, apparently they don't think Mr. King can ask. Okay, here is our hero.
And we've come to seek your help.
Ah, the young Sentinels, protectors of peace. You're just as violent as the rest of them.
Us? What about all your booby traps?
Merely to ensure my privacy, which you have now invaded.
The fate of Earth is at stake. We need your help.
I wish no involvement in the affairs of civilization. It was the war of another civilization that left me like this.
You're obviously a man of great wisdom. Yeah, but unless you share it, it does no one any good.
Never mind, guys. We can't force him to help us. Let's go.
Wait, I've lived alone so long that I find it hard to believe anyone might need me.
Well, so they decide they do need him, and he tells them what the spore is and how to get rid of it.
I'm nearly ready. Sentinels, the Jupiter Spore has made us ill. You must avoid direct exposure to it.
I hope we're not too late to save him. Even at the speed of light, that message will take over half an hour to reach Jupiter.
Sure sounds like Dr. Quest, even though he doesn't sound like Dr. Quest.
Be careful, guys.
So they don't know. Look at Herc's that's a pretty cool spacesuit that Herc has. Mo has to go out with no spacesuit because he doesn't breathe. I hope he's got a full charge. So I don't know if they're on Jupiter or Ganymede at this point in time. But looks kind of, Jupiter would just crush the ship. They're looking for a predator plant that will eat the Jupiter Spore. Of course, then it dies because there's no food. So they're killing 2 living beings, really. But that's the circle of life, I suppose. That's how it goes. Here's your... No explanation for what this is. Rain, weather. Just give them something to animate easily.
I'd sure hate to be the weatherman for this planet.
Looks like snow, though, doesn't it? All right. And if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, it's a green mist that ends up kind of, like a light snow on them.
Hark! He's trying to destroy the ship.
Got to stop, monster!
Astria, get the airlock ready. I'm bringing her in.
So the spore has made him see the ship as a monster, which we missed. It's kind of a cool monster, but... And now they've got to fix it.
We're gonna decontaminate you with the radiation bath.
I sure hope... That's some radiation bath. I sure hope his little predator spore is safe inside a lead-lined canister there.
Identical illness.
Illness? How serious is it?
Unknown. Processing medical data now.
Damage report.
Ship is not space-worthy. We must call on Gart's assistance once more.
I can't tell if they're calling him Guard,
I will help.
Guard, or Garth. Whichever one makes me laugh.
Do you have any idea what caused his sickness, Gart?
Apparently,
Gart.
he contracted a sort of living radiation. It made him ill as a virus would, yet it penetrated his spacesuit like radiation.
Is he going to be all right?
Only Sentinel-1 can answer that.
I have computed a cure.
Sentinel-1, this can't be right.
My results are correct.
But you've prescribed ordinary penicillin.
It is ironic, I admit. It is also correct.
That's good enough for me. Mo?
I'll prepare the dosage.
But you don't see the injection, that's for sure. I would assume they inoculated the other two Sentinels, young Space Sentinels. So, because they're headed back to Earth. Now, let's scoot forward a bit.
Farewell, Sentinel.
Goodbye.
You would think that the Prime Sentinel would be interested in, they'd be interested in this guy. So, and he's obviously not from Ganymede or Jupiter, I guess. But once again, second season might have been very interesting with background filled in.
Inform them of our plan.
All right, so this episode was first originally aired on November 26th, 1977, a scant 8 days from today. Not quite 44 years ago. Well, my higher math. It was written by Kathleen Barnes and David Wise, who had previously graced us with Commander Nemo and the Sorceress, the Time Traveler, and possibly the Space Giants, which I wish I'd have used the Space Giants opening for that. So Dr. Quest here is telling them something that they're about to do something dumb.
Sentinels, you're just in time to see the Jupiter Spore destroyed.
Destroyed? How?
With a heat bomb dropped on the plant's core. It should be sufficient to stop its growth.
Negative. Heat feeds the spore. That bomb will increase the plant's growth rate enormously.
So the plant can grow because of Earth's lesser gravity. But out they go, and
Let's find someplace safe to set this thing down. They have stopped the bomb.
sorry you had to hear S1.
Now I better get going with this predator plan.
So this is interesting. Down she goes. The plant's huge, and this predator plant's just tiny. Let's see what we got here. Oh. She turns into a tiny little mole or a beaver, maybe. Something big enough to carry the canister, but not there. But the plant's after her. Does the plant know? The plant seems to be sentient. So down they go. They can't find
I don't
her.
see any sign of her. Astria, are you okay?
She's not okay. And neither. We get a little action here. I mean, Herc actually gets to punch something, albeit a spaceship that can't fight back. But you'd think that they could have done a little more with the plant here racing around. But, it is the 70s. Uh-oh. It's Silver. One kick from the White Horse Silver. And there it goes. Spores, molds, and fungus. Egon Spengler would be proud. And it just dies. And then the other plant dies. And I would assume that that's a great bit of fertilizer they've got, possibly. I mean, what did it live on?
It's incredible that a tiny spore could almost destroy a planet, and then another tiny plant could save it.
What I still don't understand is the way the plant tried to rip off that canister, like it knew its enemy was inside.
Yeah, how could a plant know what was in that container? Plants don't have any intelligence.
I don't know about that, Herc. I never heard of a plant dragging home beat-up jalopies.
And that's it. So, my fellow agents, we have one more episode. I already have the next cartoon lined up. It's 13 episodes long as well, but it should be a great deal of fun. It's from the 60s, and it's not from Hanna-Barbera or Filmation. So, but we have talked about it, and it's going to complete my cycle almost. So I wanted to there's S1 and his benevolence. But if you do think of any other movies or TV shows that feature spores, molds, and fungus, I mean, that from outer space. The Blob, not really a plant. So, but yeah, Audrey. I mean, you got 2 movies. Count 2 versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's 4. Green Slime, 5 that I can think of. But be that as it may, until our next assignment, just be wise and don't pick up anything that lands with an open hand. These guys are lucky they weren't eaten by that plant. This is X7 signing off until our next assignment.